So I had a revelation today about how to explain this living in the now. I had a phrase, the way to say it, but let's see if it'll come back to me. I was meaning to write it down, and I just got so busy that I didn't write it down. But I worded it to somebody, and it made total sense. Let's see if I can come up with it real quick. Living in the now. So every moment is the same story. It's the same truth. Moment by moment by moment, it's the same truth. I'm trying to get back into the same mindset I was in. And so I was thinking about how stuff. Okay, I remember now. I've been asking this question for many years. How come you can talk about it or think about it and it appears? What has been shall be, what shall be has been. So every moment is the now. So tomorrow is the now. Yesterday is the now. Where it's always the now. So it's already happening everywhere at all times in the now. Now there might be different versions of the now. In other words, what really happened. You know, the Janus words are the secret here, because there's a lot of words that are spelled the same and sound the same, but they mean the opposite. Why? Because of what happened at the cross. Jesus went to the cross, went down the grave, right? So from the devil's perspective, he won, he was defeated, but he rose again 3 days. So at the same time, 3 days is 3 cycles, right? The Trinity is 3. So that tells you stuff works in number 3 is important. Things work in 3s. And so at that moment, but it was the Lamb slain before the foundation of the world. So why did it manifest? So it happened before the foundation of the world, but why does it manifest in 3D? So in 5D, in the spirit realm, it happened instantaneously. In the 3D, it took 3 days, 3 cycles. Anyway, that might be why it's called the weekend. I don't know. I have to think about it. But the question is, how do you explain it to somebody that today is the now and tomorrow is the now? It's the same now. It's the same day. So every day is the same day, right? So how is it possible that you can think about something, talk about something, and it appears the next day? How's that possible? Because it's the same. It's the same day. And so when you're actually walking it out down here, thinking about something, it's developing, right? It's develop. It's unfolding. And so just like you can unfold the etymology of the words, your life is a script. It's unfolding. Now, even though it's unfolding to you, it's already been. It's new to you, but it's not new to God, and it's not new to this reality. And so the unfolding is just a revelation for you. So in other words, my answer was already there. I just couldn't see it until God revealed it. So my question for all these years is, well, how come it happens? Sometimes it happens before I think about it, and sometimes it happens after I think about it. Because it's the same. Reciprocity. It's the same. Now, when you control your own thoughts, it looks more like you did it. It's what it looks like, but it already was. So everything's a reproduction. So everything's a copy machine where God made man in his image. Image means similar, and sim is simulation. So this is God made man in his image, a copy, right? So image is imagination. So even your imagination, it doesn't matter if it's 5D, 3D, 2D, it's the same. So God made man in his image, and everything's a copy at every level based on that. And so even your thoughts. So your thoughts are spirit, and those are even stronger than the natural, because the natural's just a birthing. The natural realm's just a birthing. And so how can you understand at an easy way, in an easy way? How can you understand in an easy way that everything is the now, everything repeats? The reason you can know tomorrow what's going to happen tomorrow, because it's happening now. That was it. Okay, so it came back to me. The reason you can know what's going to happen tomorrow is because it's happening now. The reason you know what happened yesterday, because it's happening now. It's in the now. Let me say it again. This is important. The reason you can know what's happening in the future, or in the now, in tomorrow. Let me say it one more time. The reason you can know what's happening tomorrow or in the future at some time is because it's happening now, because every day is the now. It's already happened. So if you just sit down and meditate on unfold some stuff and think about it, you're actually going to be able to see the future. You can do that with this Russia war. You can do it. You can do it with anything. Notice how more crazy he went. So now so they say, who knows if it's real or not. Now they're talking about him trying to cause the nuclear reactor so it affects Europe or something. It's a trip. It really is a trip. So we know once he stepped in, even though the whole world is against him, he's going to go even more extreme. He's going to try to put the whole world in a fear, because he's not going to back up, right? He's too narcissistic, psychopathic. He thinks he can intimidate the whole world. Even his own people are suffering, but he's still going forward. It's just does he really care about his own people? I doubt it. In his mind, he might. So back to being on topic. If you really think about it, if you listen to my previous videos, you can know what I'm going to say before I say it, because it's already been said. I'm just repeating stuff. There might be new ways of saying stuff, but it's already been said. I might say it a different way, but it's still the same truth. And you can do that with anybody. To my left, I'm seeing 1313. To my right, in front of me, I'm seeing EF. To my other right, I'm seeing candy. The word candy. All right, let's focus on candy. So let's focus on the word candy. So now, I saw it in the now. It's going to appear. The word candy. Candy. It might be a person's name. It might be actual candy. But if we open it up and unfold it, we can actually see what's going to happen tomorrow, or in the next 5 minutes, or the next 30 minutes. Candy. Candy. If you eat too much candy, you can't. Sugar is your poison, people. The reason it's set up this way, because if it wasn't set up this way, it would be too complicated for you. It has to be an orderly system, because if the system wasn't orderly, you would lose your ever-living mind. God is a God of order because he has a sound mind. If every day you got up and you didn't know if it was going to be 90 degrees or -0, I know the weather changes a lot, but if you got up every day and you didn't know if you were going to have a job, or In other words, today come to work. Nope, go away. If you got up every morning and the grocery store wasn't there, it would upset you. It would destabilize you. God, if you got up every day and one day the moon was over here and the next day it was over here and the sun and the moon flipped spaces or whatever, if there wasn't order, you would go crazy. So the reason this works and the reason it makes sense is because Jesus is the Logos, and the word Logos means logic. Just look it up. Log your step. If you really want to understand what to eat and not eat, do a log. Log everything. Logging everything is good for you. Otherwise, you won't learn a thing. And so, in other words, if you went home, so you build a house, right? You went home and the house was no longer there. It just disappeared. You couldn't have any stability. So this system has to be a copy machine. It has to be a repeat. It has to be a simulation. And it has to stay in order because it's made in his image. And if it wasn't stable and an image, I'd go home and the house would be gone, or it'd fall down or whatever. My point is, there has to be some stability. Otherwise, you would lose your mind. And God didn't create this place to make you lose your mind. He created this place to draw you back to himself. And this is why the unsaved really act like they've lost their mind, because they're not saved. They have no logic. It's all emotion, right? They're not logical. Then people can just depend on logic alone, and that'll mess them up too. Because if a person just depends on logic, they're gonna think logic is the salvation, you know. You know, when I do an audio or video or whatever, I try to make it profound. But this is so profound, but it sounds so simple. The reason you can know the future, the reason you can know what happens tomorrow is because it's happening now. And there always has to be a precog, but if you got the noise on, you won't see it. But if you cut the noise off, you get into meditation and you pay attention to the thoughts that come in your mind. They're like these really fast thoughts. And if you can catch them, you can see what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, some people will have these visions, and they're really, I'm sure they're really just like thoughts. They're really fast. They have to be. And it's just a vision of what's going to happen tomorrow. No, those are usually the other team. God speaks through his word, right? By his spirit. God's word, the words that I speak are spirit and life. Images are fine, but the words and thoughts are more powerful. So I've got this guy walking down the street acting crazy. He's got this little dog that's following him. So he's crazy and he's got this dog. Now, I watched a video yesterday or the day before of Putin, and I might have even talked about it on this morning. Putin grabbed this dog, and Putin's crazy. So what did I just see? There's this guy walking down the street, his pants hanging down, acting crazy, and he's got this little dog following him around that he cares about. Now, that repeated. I watched a video with Putin, who is crazy. Some people gave him a gift of a dog, and they grabbed him by the mange and held him by the mange, and Putin grabbed the dog to take care of the dog. So Putin's crazy. But he cared about that dog. But he don't care about humans. Reminds me when I was married. When I wanted to go to the doctor, my wife wouldn't take me to the doctor. But when she got a dog, she got this dog full of mange. She took the dog to the doctor. Paid for it. I wasn't going to pay for it. I said, I told you not to get the dog anyway. You're going to make everybody sick. Anyway, long story short, she cared more about a dog than her own husband. Why? Just like Putin. Crazy. She's crazy. When you care more about a dog or an animal than you do a human, you're crazy. You're insane. Let me say that again to make it very clear. When you care more about an animal than a human, and you go the extra mile for an animal but never go the extra mile for a human, you're crazy. You're insane. Just like Putin. And so that image that I saw on that video with Putin grabbing the dog, it just appeared in front of me. And that was yesterday or the day before. But I couldn't figure out what it meant. But now I know what it means. He cares more about a dog than he does the Ukrainians and his own people. He's delusional. I was married to one of them. Some people care more about their image. See, there's a lot of people out there, they think they're right. They think they're normal. But they're not. It's sad. I don't want to get sidetracked on something else. So I want to document this. If you live in the now and you pay attention to those thoughts that go through your mind and you pay attention to what's going on around you, then you're actually able to see what's going to happen tomorrow, because every day is the now. And so how to see the future, how to know what's going to happen tomorrow, is it's happening now. The way you can know the future is because it's happening right now. When I was a kid, I had some noise going on around me in the house. Noticed the noise in the neighborhood. When I was a kid, I was surrounded by smokers. I got neighbors, all of them smoke loud. When I was a kid, I saw people fighting in the front yard. Right in front of me, the other house, people fighting in the front yard. It repeats. Not only does it repeat moment by moment, but day by day, month by month, year by year, and a lifetime. What has been shall be, what shall be has been. That's Bible. The Bible says you reap what you sow. Now, somebody made a comment today about fasting. If you want to break some of these strongholds, it's going to require fasting. But what's happening is you write a script in your mind, right? And that script, like I say, it doesn't matter if it's 2D, 3D, 5D, 1D, your mind, whatever. It's the same story happening, and it's a copy machine. And so at every dimension, it's a copy. So in order to make a new outcome, you got to change your patterns. And the only way you're going to break some strongholds or patterns is through fasting. When you break those patterns, and you do it for, like Charles Stanley said, 21 days, it stays with you. I told you about the one across the street. evidently the guy might be in jail. I ain't seen him. He ain't come back or whatever. I don't know if she's staying in the house. I ain't seen nobody. There ain't nobody over. It looks like a ghost town. I don't know how long they're gonna disappear, but it's kind of nice, you know. The trash cans are out on the road, so somebody took them out. Long story short, if you really want to know what's going to happen tomorrow, just know that it's happening already right now. It might not be the storyline that you think it is, but it's still the same story. And you might have to really dig really hard to understand it, because when the hologram or the universe repeats the story that you're experiencing, whether it's in your mind or whether you're actually observing it or watching it on a TV series or whatever, but when the hologram reflects it back, it's not always exactly the storyline that you thought. Just like when you dream, you go about your day and then you have a dream about what you did that day, but it's not exactly, it don't even make sense. So when I was watching that video of President Putin and his dog and his crazy, and I was thinking about how crazy he was, somebody just walked down the street who, acting crazy, had a little puppy that he cared about, or supposedly cared about. And the guy stopped right in front of my car. How come this is a big street? How come he just stopped right in front of my car? Make sure I'd see it. Why did that happen? Because I was meditating on Putin and his little stupid dog that was a gift that he was taking care of, and I was thinking about how he don't care about Ukrainians or his own people, but he cared about that dog. And the guy just happened. But that video I watched was last night, sometime. And so why did the storyline appear? But not only that, why did it appear in a different manner? In other words, I was watching Putin in his office with these delegates from another nation, 3 or 4 of them, and gave him the dog, but he held it up by his neck, and Putin tried to rescue the dog, but Putin's crazy. Why would he care about a dog? So it's all about image. And so outward show. And so this guy's walking down the street, he stops right in front of me, and I look, at first I notice him, how crazy he's acting, how stupid he looked. And then I noticed the dog. And then they keep going. While I was doing this video or audio, the very thing that I'm talking about actually appeared in front of me while I was, in other words, the experience is happening all the time. I was talking about candy, right? First thing that comes to your mind when you hear candy is candy cane, right? Cane. Somebody walking with a cane. If you're listening to this, pay attention to candy or a candy cane or somebody with a cane. See if it doesn't appear within the next little while. It has to, because everything's a repeat. Everything's an image. We're made in his image. And God had to create a universe or an earth or a world that you could understand. And if it was outside of you, you couldn't understand it. That's why you understand clay dirt, because you're clay. You understand water because you're mostly water. 60% water, the doctor said. And so you understand water because you are water. You understand clay because you are clay. If you're born again, you understand the spiritual side of the life because you're born again, you have the spirit of truth. But if you're not born again, you have no truth, you're in the spirit of error. So you understand lies, and you like the lie. You love the lie because that's what you are. You love what you are. That's why a man loves a woman, because she's an image. She's a copy. That's why they call her Shorty. That's why she takes on the man's last name. She's just a mirror image. And so if you look up the word image and you unfold it, you'll get mirror, made in his image. So you're made in God's image. You're being brought back to source. But the witches, they hate God the Father, and they hate the system, and the magician priest class hates it, and they want to escape the simulation. That's what you're dealing with. This whole thing, that's the battle of this whole thing. The magician priest class want to escape the simulation just like the devil wants to escape the simulation, because they don't want to be held accountable for their sin. But if they ran to Jesus, their sin could be paid for. But see, they have to submit to authority. So they actually don't want to submit to God's authority or any kind of authority, because they want to be their own God. And it goes back to Genesis 3. Hath God said, you can be your own God. So Eve dropped us down into time. Eve was taken out of Adam, and Adam and Eve got married, and their name was Adam. God named them both Adam. For their name shall be Adam. She takes on his name. She's an image. It's not good for man to be alone. I'll create a helpmeet suitable. Why? It's all related, people. He's actually talking to himself in a way. He's getting a mirror reflection to build. So that's why, the woman gives you a honey-do list. And the woman's watching everything you do. And the woman, a lot of times, and I noticed this when I was married, I don't think she was doing it, but they can read your mind. But you think, did you just read my mind? You just repeated what? She's a mirror image. That's why when a man drinks, she drinks. When a man smokes, she smokes. That's the whole deal. Everything's a copy machine. And so when the man and woman have a child, the child looks like them. And the women say, I'm not going to be like my mom when I get older, but they end up just like their mom. The very thing they said they wasn't going to do, they did. You hear a lot of women say that, or used to. I don't know if they're doing it. I'm not going to be like my mom, but they end up just like their mom. Why? Because they didn't want to do any prayer and fast. The only way you're going to break those kind of strongholds is by fasting. Let me say it one more time, because I could use 1,000 examples. Say it one more time. Listen to the birds. They do that every day. So if you want to be able to know what's going to happen tomorrow or in the future, because there's different cycles, but it's all really happening now. It's already happening. So if you want to know what's going to happen, it's already happening now. Just pay attention to your now. Now there's other people affecting you that have different thoughts that affect your now. In other words, there's people that appear in the hologram because they have their own thoughts and they have their own will. And so things can jump on you and jump up at you and appear that shock you or surprise you, right? You can be shocked or surprised because everybody's creating their own little reflection. And when you rub shoulders with somebody, you're affected by their reflection. It's kind of like that movie Inception. If in the dream state, they were able to let their dream be a part of somebody else's dream. So you're actually made in his image and you have your own thoughts. But like I said about the flesh mind, the flesh creature is the anti. So you approach the mind of Christ. When you're in the flesh mind, you're the anti as well. But when you're in the spirit mind, you're in tune. But these antichrist people, they're the anti. But that tells you right there, there's the night and day. So The fact that you have a flash and an anti-flash just represents day and night. The reason you have a spirit and a flesh mind is day and night. The black and white checkerboard, which goes back to the cross. Jesus died, but he rose again. So the black and white is the checkered board of the cross. And then you had the blood flow, so the blood has to flow. And so there's always a flow, and there's always a storyline, and there's always a scene and a repeat, and it's a world stage and the same truth. Some kid just went by on a scooter. He was riding a scooter, and he had a red jacket on. It's like I could sit here in my car and just look in front of me, and stuff that passes by, you can actually see the future. You could just take a screenshot of wherever you're at, just in your mind, take a screenshot, and he just went right back by. He's got a red outfit on and a black car following him. So there's the red scooter and the black car. So now there's going to be a white car that drives by next, because it's, like I said, it's a black and white checkerboard with red on it. And the reason it has to be this way is, like I said, if it was not an ordered system, you would lose your mind, because you would go home expecting to be at your house, and your house is across the street. Instead of your house being in the same place and all your stuff in the same place, you would lose your mind, because your house would be across the street instead of where you left it, or your car keys. And so it has to be an ordered simulation, and it has to be a copy machine, and it has to be a repeat, because when I went to work, I already knew what was going to happen. I would come back here, because I've already repeated it 1,000 times. I go to work, I come home, so I know I'm going to repeat that the next day. I go to work, the work's still there, and I come home and it's still here. Why? Because it's an ordered system. And God gives you the simulation that repeats. Let's see what color car this is. That's a silver car. So I'm waiting on a white car, and then I'll go into the house. Silver just means conveyance. The electrical wiring is gray. Grayish silver. Anyway, here comes another car. Let's see if it's a white car. It's a white truck. Yep, there it is. It's a white truck with a trailer on the back. Trailer, trail, to trail after, series, sequence. So the word trailer, that's what I was trying to say. So the universe just helped me. And so when I say universe, in Him we live and breathe and have our being. It's all held together by Jesus. So the simulation, the 3D, the 2D, the 1D, the ink on a piece of paper, it's all held together by Jesus. Otherwise, the ink, if it wasn't an ordered system, the ink would just fly off the page. Or you try to write the number 1, it would be a 2 on the page. It has to be that way. And so my point is, the magician priest class can try to do Mandela effects and change reality, and they might affect it a little bit. But what they're trying to do is make you crazy. It is a crazy place if you really think about it long enough. And speaking of that, let me talk about something else. A lot of these people who think they're schizophrenic, probably not, but because they're just starting to see past. Look, the doctors don't want you to wake up. Why don't the doctors tell you about prebiotics, probiotics, and fiber when you go into and have why don't they tell you stuff? They want to give you a pill, and you can get it. Look, I've only been studying this medicine stuff for 3 months, and your fiber, your prebiotics, probiotics, and all the stuff you need for gut health is usually in the skin of fruit. The skin of fruit. You can eat banana peeling. The skin of fruit. If you put it in a blender, make a smoothie, you'd probably be the healthiest person as long as you eat the skin, because you're going to get more vitamins. I went to the Walmart today and I got some, what's it called? Organic orange peel. And I also bought some peppermint extract. And remember, your grandmother told you, eat this. And now, the very thing that your grandmother told you, now the doctors are catching up. You see what I'm saying? What has been shall be, what shall be has been. It's already been, people. And if you can understand that when that thought comes in your mind, it's a foreshadow of the next storyline. And not only is it a foreshadow, which is a precog, but it's a postcog because it already happened. Everything that is happening right now has already happened yesterday and will happen tomorrow. It might not be exact storyline, and this is why when you watch a love story, look, you can watch a love story movie, right? Now think about what I'm saying here. You can watch a movie love story. How many love stories have been written in this whole entire world? Unlimited, probably. But why is it that you can watch another love story and it's the same, still a love story, but you don't get bored with it? How's that possible? How can you watch a love story knowing it's a love story and you go to another movie and watch it and it's another love story? How's that possible? It's a different storylines. If it was exactly the same storyline, you wouldn't watch it. You'd be bored. And so when this stuff reflects back, it has to reflect back with a different storyline. It's all the story. And the reason it's a story, because the word Tor, it's an underground network, and story, God is building his church in different levels, and each level is a story, right? It's a 3-story building, right? And so it's a story because of history, his story. And not only is it his story, it's his T Ori, his cross having to do with. O-R-Y means having to do with. T is the cross and his. So it's all about his story and what happened at the cross. So not only are you seeing a love story happen all the time, a horror show happen all the time, a mystery happening all the time. All these stories that you're watching already happened at the cross, and they're happening every moment of every day. And you're in a repeat, a copy machine, a simulation, so that you can focus on Jesus. And Jesus holds it all together, and Jesus can get the praise and the honor and the glory, and you can be content. And see, here's the thing. This is another profound thing that's important. So the reason for the drama, see, the devil dropped us down, Eve and the devil dropped Adam and Eve and the devil, because in Adam all die. He chose to go down with the ship. But it's the sin of man, because actually the devil's nothing more than a reflection of man's sin. Because Jesus went to the cross at 33, a third of the angels fell. So the fallen angels are really just a reflection. They're messengers, right? It's a message to you that you're sin, that you're a sinner. And so anyway, my point is this. It all happened at the cross. The storyline is set. I just lost my train of thought, but it was very important. I'll have to back this audio up and do another video, because this is huge. It's all happening now. Let me see if I can rethink it. It's all happening now. The reason that you can see the post-cog and the pre-cog, because it's all now. It's already been. Jesus holds it all together. By him, all things. The storyline is the same. The reason it's an ordered system, because you would go crazy if it wasn't. It's a simulation, similar, made in his image. It's a mirror image. The types and shadows. Wow, it just went out of my mind. It escaped. Anyway, I'll do another video on it. Let me put this on pause, see if it comes back for a second. Okay, it came back. So the devil dropped us down into time, but we chose to go down in time. Time means befallen. So the devil uses drama to keep you in time. And so the drama is to keep you in time. The news. Why do you think that they're ramping up the news? Apostle Paul said there would be wars and rumors of war. Why? Because the drama keeps you in time and not thinking in the eternal. The drama, when I cut everything off, the noise, the people, and the TV, and I just went into total meditation as much as I could. I had to work and pay my bills, but I went into total solitude as much as possible living in a city. And so what I was able to do was see past the noise. And when I cut the music off, it really was like an exponential growth. And so all the noise and the drama and all is to keep you in a time loop. But the time loop is your enemy because time means befallen. If you're saved, you're not befallen. You're in Christ. You're seated in the heavenly. So you're outside of time. And so the devil uses the drama to try to keep you focused on your bills and everything that's happening. Your bills, the drama, the chaos. It's to keep you in time. But when you step out of time, in your mind, in your spirit, you see past it all. And so the two takeaways here is if you're saved, you're outside of time in Christ, seated in the heavenlies. Jesus is eternal, you're eternal, and you're outside of time. And the other takeaway is you can know the future because it already has been and it's happening right now. The storyline's happening right now. It might appear a little different, but it's still the same story, just like a love story is no different than another love story, is no different than a love. When you go look at a marriage, you see the same marriage, just different faces. When you go watch a football game, it's the same red versus blue. It's all the same stories, just different faces, just repeating. And so it's in series and sequence after Christ, just like that trailer that came by. A movie trailer is in sequence after Christ. So your life, your path is in sequence and it is a trailer following after Jesus and what he did at the cross. So you're going to have to learn to take up your cross. And you might not like it, but when you accept it, then you start to like it, because when you take up your cross, you're dying to the flesh mind, because time, the AI flesh mind is in time. The AI flesh mind is not the spirit mind. And so when you take up your cross and deny yourself and follow Jesus, you enter into the spirit mind. Long story short, Jesus already made the way. He already made the path, and you're just following after until you see, when you get your new body. When you see Jesus, you'll be like him, and you'll get your new body, and you'll be in heaven, praising God, throwing any crown that you have down at the feet of Jesus. And you'll be thankful for what Jesus did, because he's the only one. See, this whole system is so dramatic. The drama, your health. He's the only one that could make it without sin. See, the reason the devil sends drama your way is to get you to respond in a sinful way. Everything. The Jezebel, the Delilah, the fighting, the wars, to get you to be a sinner. If you're saved, you're not a sinner, you're a saint, but he wants you to respond in a sinful way. And that's what's happening on your job, that's what's happening in your family, that's what's happening with the media. It's all to make you upset and get you back into time, because time is befallen. But you're really outside of time, and you can only see it with the Spirit of truth. You're outside of time. You really are. I know it's hard to see, but I spent 7 years of my life every day decoding. And it's real, people. The flesh mind is befallen and it's in time. The spirit mind is outside of time. That's just the fact. That's the fact, Jack. Every saying that you say has a deeper meaning. Every nursery rhyme has a deeper meaning. Every movie has a different meaning. Has a deeper meaning. When I bought this peppermint, I opened up Google and did some they did some research, said the peppermint will kind of reduce tears, but it has some good benefits. But Then below it was Peppermint Tears, a song called Peppermint Tears. And there's scientists studying peppermint and how it affects tears. My point is, it's already been. The hologram is a holy writ. It's written. You're in a 3D book, and it's already been written, and it's not written in a chaotic way. It's written in an orderly way, and all the details are there, and so everything is connected, not because everything is God, but because God wrote everything, and everything's connected in that script, the holy writ. And the holy writ means hologram or hologram. It's already written, people. You're in a 3D book to cut out your flesh mind, to teach you to get out of the book, because in time you're befallen. The word time actually means befall. Look it up in the etymology. Time means to befall. And so you don't want to be a time traveler, because you already are. You want to be outside of time and escape the befallen state and live in the eternal. Live in the now, live in peace, love, joy, peace, goodness, meekness, temperance, faith. When you step out of time, you're in peace. No matter what happened, or what will happen, or what is happening, you're still in peace. But the devil don't like your peace, so he's going to send so much drama to try to steal your peace that it'll blow your mind. When you finally see through this game, you'll start to see, when you're in peace, all Hades breaks loose to try to take you back into time, or take you out of your state of mind of being in the now. Because when you're in the now, you're in total peace. Think about it. If you're worried about the future, you don't have peace. If you're worried about the past, you don't have peace. But if you live in the now, you're in total peace. And so the devil has to take you out of the now and to get you back in time, worried about time. Because time is befallen. Adam and Eve fell us down into time. The word fell, like fell a tree. They fell us down into a time, a befallen state. It's a state of being. The flesh mind is a state of being, just like the spirit mind is a state of being. And so the state of being of the flesh creatures, they're worried about time. The state of being of the spirit creature is outside of time. That's why the Bible says, set your affections on things above, not below, because below is time. Above is eternal. That's why the robots are AI flesh creatures. And I'm talking about the robotic humans right now. But the robot, man makes a robot. And what is a robot? It's a computer. What is a computer? It runs on a clock. Come on now. You can use the clock. Once you see this, you can actually use the clock against itself, because you can use the simulated training program to learn what to eat, what not to eat, how to heal yourself. And actually, I believe that you can reverse aging, and that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm studying right now. Pretty sure you can do it. I'm pretty sure. I'm about 99.999% sure you can reverse aging with the right gut health, prebiotics, probiotics, enzymes. With the right enzymes, you can fix this thing. Anyway, that's a long talk, I know. But if you can glean anything from it, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. That's what Jesus said. And it took me all these years to figure out what he meant. But if you understand living in the now, it makes total sense. Don't worry about tomorrow. Today has enough trouble in itself. Just worry about today. Live in the now. And actually, you can do that moment by moment on your job. There's some people, they go to work and they're miserable for 8 hours because they're thinking about getting off at 5. Well, quit doing that and just think about the now. What you got to do now. What you got to do in an hour. Quit worrying about 5 o'clock and punching the clock. Worry about the next 10 minutes and live in the now, and you'll quit dreading your job. For real. Not even joking.